Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News, and my next guest is in the 2023 PFL Championships. Impa Kasanganay joining me today. How's it going, Impa?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me on, sir. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. And thanks again for the time. First things first, man. I mean, it's been a crazy year for you. First year in the PFL, getting ready for your fifth fight of the year. I mean, just kind of summarize what this year has meant to you in your life, your career, and all that.
Man, this year, for me, it's living in answered prayers. Right? Grateful to be back in a major organization, a great organization with that, being in the PFL. I say that like, I love to be in the PFL, through the rest of my career. Looking at like the next 11 to 12 years, I'd love to be in the PFL. Oh,
Yeah, and what would you say in terms of like what are some of the biggest reasons for your success in the PFL so far? Like what adjustments and what improvements that you feel like you've made this year that have kind of, attributed to your success?
yeah, man. So like big thing I would say is like I focused it heavily on my faith. Like for me, it's like my faith really challenges me to be the best disciplined fighter most immediate. Like for life, we gotta get crazy in my head, like you're training or whatever, rough day. Like I could always focus back on that or listening to my coaches. And then with that, it helped me realize that I have great coaches around me from, guys who've been in my corner, Coach Dieter, Coach Lenz, Coach Jones. It they've helped refine me, grow me, and really, really pushed me. Making the move down to South Florida the end of December in 2000 or beginning of December 2020, like the training partners I've had, the coaches I've had, like have like pushed me beyond limits. Like with like ways like understanding how to wrestle better, understanding how to strike better, understanding how to grapple, and understanding becoming a much better fighter. I'll say Coach Lentz is my MMA mentor, right? And he's fought 11 years in the UFC. Coach Jeter's been around all of Cuban boxing, MMA, and he's coached at the highest level in so many different ways. And of course, I have Henry Hooft as our head coach, and like just the knowledge and the experience. But having the facility and the training partners who really like help you refine and grind. And Coach Jones, like he's a great man, welcomed me to the gym, pushed me, really like broke down the fundamentals of grappling, but also fighting and being a better man. And that's what's been important for me. And let's grow when you remove yourself from home where I was living in North Carolina to come down here and the family that I have in the support system. That's what's really they help propel me. And now we're seeing it come together and continue to grow. Man, having faith, taking the opportunity to take risks, go up different weight classes, whatever the case may be, and realizing that like I'm a great fighter, and that's who God's called me to be, and using this platform. That's what I really, really love. So that's that in a nutshell. I believe is what we're seeing. All this, um, we call success is it's coming together, and I'm very, very grateful.
How has being with the PFL kind of exceeded your expectations in a way? Because you mentioned, you kind of see this as almost like a long-term home for you, right? In terms of maybe
Yeah.
like the next 10, 11 years in the PFL. So I
Mhm.
got to ask you, like, what has impressed you the most about how the PFL is doing things and exceeded your own expectations?
Man, PFL is awesome because I really believe I get to like earn my way through, right? Like with the PFL, it's like the UFC was awesome. I don't have anything against the UFC. It's just like for me personally, how it's worked for me is I get to stay active, right? I get to stay and keep showing what I can do. I get in this warpath. I get to be who I'm called to be, and I love it. And being in the PFL is like the staff's awesome, right? From everybody, Gabby who sets up the interviews, Tawny, Bree, Eduardo, Chris, Diego, like the other, everybody. Like I said, every single person is so welcoming and willing to teach. Like last fight, I had an opportunity to go take pictures at the fights. I was like actually holding a camera, taking pictures at the PFL fights. We got to go to the Nasdaq. I'm getting some opportunities that maybe I would have never got somewhere else or at this time in my life, which is really really cool. And getting to take advantage of them. I'm going to PFL Europe at the end of this month. Right, and getting to go be a part of that. Maybe getting some commentating. Like looking at things that are really cool. And PFL has been showing me that there's opportunity here to grow. They really care about their fighters. I get to talk to Ray Sefo a solid amount, and that's been cool. Like, it really felt welcome. And then I get up the quality of fighters. Like there's always a fight. Doesn't matter if somebody drops, you're gonna have an alternate. And you know that, like, let's say when I fought Corey Hunters, I didn't get the finish, and I was upset. I'm like, I know I can go do it the next one, and like that's cool. I was getting those opportunities. Excuse me, apologies. Um, but man, it's just like PFL is just so welcoming. They do it differently. I can really tell they care about us as fighters. The people in the staff really, really care. And from the top down. It's such a cool opportunity, and I see it growing. And I like that they have things on different fronts and they play like that. See, like the Battle of the Nations, right, in Europe. You see like PFL Europe. This person's from France. This person's from Germany. This person's from Poland. This person's from Ireland. This person's from Wales. Right? Yeah, PFL Africa growing, which I think is super cool, and I'd love to be a part of that. Like to be an ambassador, to be a talent, scout out talent, whatever the case may be, like a way that I can be involved in the organization much as a fighter, but also other opportunities. And I think there are opportunities for that. You see the PFL Saudi Arabia, they're getting some great investors. And it's cool seeing it done in a different way, right? Not everybody doing the copy and paste. And that's what I really, really like about PFL, from the Challenger Series all the way to the championship, to the finals. And like just like the fact that you have like 3 consecutive weekends of fights, people get an off season. And if you call, I don't believe fighting is a sport. I don't see it as one. I see it completely differently. At the same time, I think it's so cool that you do treat it like a season. So now I know I have an off season. I have the season's active, and I can get better. I can travel. I can do what I need to do. But there's so many different things. Like whereas like if I was another organization, at any moment you can be fighting. So it's cool. And then now they've added USADA, which is awesome. So now there's a lot much more legit process, and that makes me very, very happy. So I love it.
And do you kind of see it like as almost more of a meritocracy in the PFL in terms of, earning a title shot and not just like talking your way to a title shot? Because obviously in the PFL, it's like there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Like you grind through a season format to get to that PFL championships at the end of the year. So do you kind of see it as more of a meritocracy?
Yeah, that's what I love about it. The meritocracy is definitely there. Like you must earn your way to the top, and that's cool for me. Like, I believe like if you're a champion anywhere, like to earn a championship, you have to earn it, earn it, earn it. Sometimes I think in other organizations you can talk your way there. Some people have less fights, some have more fights, but I think also too some people have their credibility. Like this guy was a premier wrestler, this person did this. But when it comes to the proving grounds of being in the cage and showing what you do you show up each and every time you step in there? And that's what I do. That's what I continue to do, and that's what I will do. And it's like I love that because then it's like when I get the title this year, next year it's like okay, like you were champion 2023. Now what are you gonna do in 2024? Go get it again and go get it. And that says a lot about you because you're fighting. This year I fight 5 times. Next year before, after that before, and then let's say unless they add extra fight in the season, which I'm all for. If they had like 2 more fights in the season, it'd be fun. Like I mean, more seating rounds, more opportunities, or whatever the numbers would need to be to do that. But I think it'd be cool, like a longer season. At the same time, I get it. Like I get why they don't, and I think 4 fights is plenty. I think 5 fights is awesome. I love that I got to fight 5 fights this year, and I'm growing up. But I think yeah, when you earn and you earn, you climb, and hey, this finish gets you this. It makes your skill set that much better because there's a certain strategy and things you need to do to get it done. So I'm looking forward to this. Like November 24th, claim this victory, do great. I'm really excited for the November 25th because that's when it's like, all right, like watch what the obsession takes to get to that point where it's like you dominate every single one of them, and that's what I love about it. So, yeah.
I want to ask you too. I've spoken with Dilano Taylor a bunch of times in the PFL. Obviously, last year he had a great run through the PFL and had kind of a similar path to you in a way too, like getting that path on Challenger Series, making it all the way to the championships. I want to ask you a little bit about your relationship with him, and did he kind of help you adjust to the season format a little bit faster than most guys, just having that experience?
Yeah, Delaw's my best friends. Like that's my bro. Like, we're texting every day, talking trash to each other mostly. Like he's one of the best friends, and I'm very grateful for him. He was he opened the door for me in a way in the PFL. As a guy used him, that's where I got to see what the PFL is like from an outside perspective. I went with him to the Challenger Series. I sat in the crowd, and it was really cool. And I liked that because it was like I got to see, okay, this is how it is. Like this is what you need. Helped him out there that way. Then I went with him to one of the first fights. I went with him to Wales. I got to see PFL here, which I'm so happy about because that was so much fun. I rented a motorcycle, or as they say over there, hired a motorcycle, and I went all over, and I absolutely loved it. Then I went to the championship with him. And I got to see that. We have to like, so you take notes, like if you take mental notes, physical notes, you got to see some things that worked, some things that didn't, changing this up, not changing this up. Like it was like there are some things that were keeping it simple work instead of making it too complex didn't at times. And Dilano made a pitch for me, like, hey man, put that guy in PFL. Like, what weight class will he fight at? Back at 70, 85? They don't have 85. He's like, he'll fight, everyone will fight at heavyweight. He doesn't care. And they're like, what? This guy will? And he's a big reason why I'm here today. And I love that guy. And I don't know, where I'd be. So I'm very, very grateful to Dilano. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And one thing that's really unique about you too is that you have 3 different degrees, lots of business degree experience and all that stuff. Like, you obviously you have a lot of fighting left in you, but outside of fighting and after fighting eventually, like, you're pretty set up for the future. Like, how important do you feel like that is for a lot of fighters to prepare for that moment where fighting is over and they're looking to what's next?
Yeah, I mean, for me, fighting is like you, you can use fighting like a scholarship. Like I'm thinking back to college athletics. Use fighting as a scholarship. Don't if you get to the point like you've seen like the Ngannou's, McGregor, the guys out of sight, people across the world like Brendan Loughnane or Kayla Harrison is a great example. People who've realized success, got bigger paychecks and done stuff. Maybe they might not do too much outside of it, but I feel like those are the type of people that still will. I highly encourage them to realize that like $1 million is solid, but it's not the most money in the world. $100,000 is solid, it's not the most money in the world, right? Even $50,000 is solid, but it's not the most money in the world. Like, how do you set yourself up for the future by doing it differently? And I would say, if you want things to be different, you must do things differently. Big reason like that. So my next step right after the season is, to start an MBA program. Ideally, some major schools would be like Miami, University of Miami, Wharton College of Business, Rice University, Harvard's program. Like, I want to put myself in the best of the best, whatever it takes to get into one of those. And where they have great programs, then MBA, get my CPA, and then I'd like to get a PhD, and something as far as business related, finance or economics. Because for me, it's like I work with the company, Live Wealth Group, and one-stop financial services shop, and like taxes, consulting, tax mitigation, risk management, financial planning, all that. And I'm in an early stage with it, and I get to be a part of it with Alan Diamond, the CEO of the company. And I'm really grateful to be a part of it and learn, and the head of athlete relations. And I want to see these athletes be able to look and they're making money. Not that they just have to buy a house or invest in it, but they can have the right investments that are continued annually, monthly, quarterly. Bringing them in an income that they can live off of, that they can still continue to grow and live their lives great. Because see guys in the NFL, yeah, they make $100 million, maybe they become broke. That can happen. But also, some take that money and turn it from 100 million to 300 million, right, or more. Eventually down the road, even 110 million versus 100 million, still awesome, right? So, my idea is like that. You can use fighting as a scholarship for your life. You have a different kind of schedule. You're not there always 9 to 5 all day. So take those other pockets of time to grow. And like, I have Live Wealth Group that I'm with, and then also my own company, Impa's Refining, where I help fighters, any fighter in the world who wants to train, or everyday person who wants to train and understand martial arts and work and see how they can become a better version of themselves using the methods of martial arts. That's what I do. And it helps me live a free life. Like, I don't have to live off of my fighting income. I can live freely based off the other work that I do, which I think is, you treat fighting as a bonus, man, you're gonna have a great life. And I've been to the point too. I've slept in my car before, I'm like off the grid. But that's kind of by choice, right? Because if I think about it, all I had to do was like apply for an accounting job. But it's like you sometimes listen to the wrong voices, being told not to work, not to this, and you start digging yourself a hole. So coming from both sides of the spectrum, where things are going really well, where things weren't going so well, but it helps me relate to some fighters where I'm like, man, they put themselves in some binds. And funny enough, this Wednesday we're having a meeting at the gym with the company I'm with. We're going to hold a seminar, and hopefully we can do that at other gyms as well, so other fighters can all live great. Like, even if like I'm fighting Josh, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked after, like, hey, what are you doing to set yourself up financially? Like, God bless you. Like, I'm gonna claim his victory on the 24th. Great, but I still want to see these guys. And at the same time, I still want to see these guys like have great lives based off this, because you're putting your body through it when you're a fighter. So why not capitalize on that? I think education is so important, because education is important. People say, "Oh, I don't need colleges," and I don't think everybody does. But it's better to do it when you have a plan, right? Don't just go there and go to an educational institution and then waste it away. Like, you use what you have and have a plan and make a great life for yourself. There are people out there guaranteed money when they have the worst week of work of their life is the best week. They have their own business, right? And that's what I really respect and love. So I look at it differently. I see it differently. I want it done differently because I don't want fighters to keep getting the low paychecks, but also being taken advantage of, whether it's management, whether it's themselves, whether it's an old friend. Like I want them to have like the sensibility and the knowledge to be able to ask questions and feel confident about it, and then help themselves grow. So it's about
Absolutely, man. And I got to ask you, you mentioned there, like just a few years ago, you were living in your car, you were in a rough
it.
spot. And you mentioned also in your post-fight interview after your last fight, kind of the rough spot mentally you were at one point in time. So what advice would you give to those that are coming from similar places in life and maybe feel down and not really sure where to go? Like, what advice would you give to those guys to, really get that back up off their feet and to move forward?
Let's say anybody's trying to move forward and get up off their feet, like unapologetically remove all distractions. For me, I'm Christian. I found faith. I don't press it upon people. It's like, I trust God, Jesus. Like, He's really changed my life. It gives me a certain kind of peace. And, like, you realize, like, even if you're in a storm, like, life can be very calm. Well, with that being said, like, faith without works is dead. So you need to put the work in. But at the same time, remove, literally, don't even apologize. People like you or don't like you. Just remove distractions. Like, be obedient to that. You know what distracts you. Whoever's listening. Like, you know it. Right, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be in this relationship. Maybe I shouldn't be with these friends. Maybe I should. I'm not just talking about boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm talking about like the relationship of just going to that bar, the relationship of like staying up too late, being out here, the relationship of putting yourself in a negative spot. Like, don't. And then also, too, if you have a dream and a vision, don't let somebody stifle it because they think like you should only focus on this being a fighter. Maybe you like building canoes and you're amazing at building canoes, and people will pay $100,000 for the canoe that you build. At the same time, you never do because you've been told like if you want to do this, you gotta be all in. All in does not mean you don't do anything else. You don't do that. Like truly, like if you want to get out of a rough spot, be creative and start to earn and make stuff for yourself and make the money work for yourself and life and find peace and just realize where you seek your validation from is probably a good indication of where your life will go. And for me, it's like I see my knowledge from Christ, God, people that God's put in my life, like positive in a positive way, and don't seek validation from the person who just seems popular. Validation of the person who just seems like they kind of have it going on, but they don't. Don't get lost along the way. And I believe you'll start finding some freedom for yourself.
No doubt about it. And last question for me. Once again, it's I really do appreciate the time. It's great to meet you. Great to chat with
You
you.
too.
And
You too.
I'm sure
Thank
this
you.
will probably be the first of many chats. I want to get your initial thoughts on the stylistic matchup with Josh Silveira. Obviously, it's a fight that a lot of people are talking about, really excited about stylistically. It's a really interesting matchup. How are you seeing this fight, and what can fans expect in November when the two of you get in the cage?
Sure. I mean, I respect Josh. One, good fighter, up and down overall, like, good MMA fighter. Awesome grappling background, throwing and striking. Uh, all that being said, I see me dominating the fight from the get go. About the battle, it's like go out there, take him out, without claim victory by finish. Right? It's early on in the fight, set the pace, put the pressure, and control it how I want to control it. I think stylistically, it's awesome. When you put it down on paper for what people see and think. I don't necessarily would see myself as having a specific style. So it's like sometimes it's kind of what people see from your last one. He's not this guy. He's not this guy. So maybe he's a knockout artist. Then he's a grappler because he's done this. And I've seen Josh have great moments too. He's awesome head kick. This. He's going to grapple. He's creative, so he can throw anything that he wants almost, right. And he's good coaching, very smart coaches. I think you'll see beautiful battle of the minds, right? And that's what's cool. In the early stages of it, then I take over, I dominate, the finish, get this victory, move forward. Yeah, that's what I see. So if that happened, so thank God, move forward, and be ready for next season. Get that belt wrapped around the waist.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks again for the time. Really do appreciate it. I'm sure we'll chat again soon. I'll actually be down there at Killcliff in a few weeks doing some
Oh yeah,
media down there. So I will definitely
well,
probably cross paths and all that. And
sure.
all the best with these coming weeks. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon, man. Thank you so much.
So please stay in touch.